Alright guys, Hayzink here, welcome back to the channel for another AFK Arena video. Now obviously these videos have been a bit few and far between on the channel, and honestly the reason for that is I'm still between a rock and a hard place with how to do content on this, because I am getting to grips with a lot of this game, I'm understanding a lot of it, I'm pushing content, but I don't really feel like I'm in a position yet to give you guys advice. So instead what I'm doing in this video is I'm going to take my final bit of advice from someone who's been playing the game for quite a while, and it's actually quite ironic. The person I'm going to be taking advice from, actually, if I go into Solemnville, he is actually my mentor. Right, he is actually my mentor in game. So we are just going to tap up Skyfire and just take some real life mentorship and see if he can maybe give me a few pointers on my account. Now he is my guild leader in Street Fighter, and yeah, it's nice to finally speak to you in real life and do something that's not Street Fighter. So how you doing, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks. Cheers for having us on, mate.
It's alright, mate. Hopefully you're going to help me out. If not, you're never coming back.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do, right, is first of all, obviously Pika was on, and Pika basically says to me, oh, this is what you need to do. You need to put this character in your wish list, that character in your wish list. Great, Pika, I did that, right, mate? But you never really told me what goes together, what builds I should be going with. And while I have pushed a fair bit of content, I'm on chapter 32. I'm now getting to the point where if I go into this stage, I believe you can see I've now got multi-team formations, right? So while I do have, I want to say, one fairly decent team that I like, it's starting to fall down because I need more than one team. Now I have got a lot of units, and what I'm going to do, mate, is I'm going to show you my box, right? In my box, you tell me to scroll up, scroll down, whatever, look at the characters I've got and kind of see who maybe I should have in the Resonating Crystal, who I should be focusing on, who I should be trying to get gear for. And rather than telling me new characters to go for, let's see what I can use within my box, right? So
Yeah,
here's my
sounds
characters. Good. Is there any specific way you want to see these? Do you want me to look at them by faction? Do you want me to sort them in a certain way? How do you want me to do it?
Well, you can go through factions if you want. We can start off with the light bearers, the little blue and yeah.
So you can obviously see here that I've not got many of these guys in the crystal.
No, it's good. It's good. The main staple ones like supports as well. So like Rowan, Rosalind, you're starting to do them up, which is good. They're both ascended, so that's really good. You should probably put Rosalind in the resonating crystal.
Right, just to point out, you're saying names and I see pictures.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the little on the third row, on the first one on the third row.
Yep, I know who she is. The maid.
Yeah. So what she'll do is she'll follow up like she offers loads of like debuff and support and obviously like energy regeneration. So
put her in here.
She's a really good one all around. So in
here, who would you say I should take away to put her in?
You could probably take away Nomura, the one on the second row on the right.
The little sheep person.
Yeah, I know she's a good healer for the for the Wilder Tower and stuff, but yeah, should be a good one to put in.
Cool. Back to light bearers.
Okay. Yeah, that's a. I mean that lineup that you got at the top. I mean, Lucius is a pretty decent tank. He has kind of fallen off, but you know that's a solid team that you could probably try and push the light bearer tower with. So you know you've got a pretty decent team at the top there.
I've pushed the tower not too bad. I'm on floor 111.
Yeah.
It. You know what I mean? To be fair, it's good because if I do that today, I'll get I think it's gear I get maybe because I'll have all towers at 120 or higher, so that'll be good. I'll do that today. Right, so we've done light bearers. Let's look at maulers. So you can see that the top line is basically what I have currently leveled in my maulers.
That's pretty good. Again, I've lacked on a lot of awakened units, but again, it seems like you've spread, you know, the ones that you have got across, like the Belinda and the light bearers. You've got Brutus up in there. You know, with the maulers, that's good. Again, Anuki at the top, he's kind of like a little bit like situational. there, like you start. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, like never really kind of. There's a lot of heroes I've never kind of figured out how to use them necessarily, but like as for him, you can't just really put him in a team and expect them to win straight away. If you know what I mean. There's other heroes like on the second row, on the far right, that Anasta or something. Yeah, that's a really good hero. I've heard that pairs well with that Brutus, Awaken Brutus. So
what about this unit? I think this unit's maybe new because I know that when you go to the merchant, they've got like a leveling bonus thing for this unit just now. So
yeah,
I'm assuming that means this unit's failing you.
Yeah, he is. Again, I've not really seen much, or I have heard from other content creators that he is pretty good. I just haven't had a chance to build him myself and use him yet. So maybe try and keep him out because again, with like the certain factions like lack certain utility. So Maulers for a long time lacked a lot of support. So they've started to introduce some of those, and then started to like mix them up. It seems so.
So Pika made out that this unit's pretty good. Should I be doing something with this unit? Because I'm not doing anything with her just now.
I mean, with certain units like those, they were like the kings and the queens, like when this game first came out. So like she was a real top DPS for like, the Maulers, and then you had like Shamira for the Graveborn, and then over time they've kind of been weaned out to like where you can have like way stronger units, but like they'll still suffice, they'll still do things, but there's better options now.
All right, okay. So what you're basically saying is maybe apart from this guy, that top line's okay. Your suggestion is maybe take him out of the crystal and put her into the crystal? Yeah.
Another good cheap one for now. If you just go back to the Maulers, I'm sorry.
All right. Yep.
The normal Brutus. If you do get lucky to pull up some copies of him, or even get them to at least legendary, he's got like this little little thing called last grasp in his skills, like where when he's reduced down to no health, like he'll survive for like about 5 to 6 seconds.
I've noticed that in stages because he's a pain in the arse when you fight him in stages. Yeah. I've noticed that he can hang on, and it's like I don't know if it's like it says evade or if it says it says something, but you can see that you're not doing any damage to him. I never realised that was. I thought that was just the computer being cheap and letting him survive longer than he should, kind of thing. So
I mean, it's just like Street Fighter Duel. We've got our own little like kind of like cheese tactics. Bison's just a cheese machine in himself as well. But like Beast Zangief, we're kind of like forced to use that interrupt mechanic, to even pass any stages. So on here, you can do the same thing in a sense. Like with him, you can use him to, maybe soak up so much damage for like 5 seconds, and then like your team can finish him off. Or another one, which we will get to when we get to the Graveborns, is the Thorin cheese that everyone used to talk about. Even to this day, like he's up there, and it's the whole premise of like buffing, debuffing, the whole team, and then like having him to the point where he's activated a super and he's just taking all the damage off the enemies and he backlashes it back. So it's kind of called the Thorin cheese because it's a lot of RNG. You could be sat there for days just constantly, retrying the level over again just to get it through. I mean, it could happen straight away. I mean, it's a great feeling when it happens, but it's really cheap. But it could be an option for you, and now that you've got 2 teams to face against. So
well, I mean, I wouldn't mind that because if I get through this chapter, I think I unlock Tier 4 gear. I'm pretty sure it unlocks at the end of this, which could, for all I know, I'm not sure, but for all I know, that could really help push me on even further. So I'm kind of keen to get to the end of this chapter. So I'm thinking that I'll maybe take that advice. I don't think I'll put Brutus in there just now because I've only got him at the level I've got him at. But
you'll eventually get copies of pretty much all these heroes. It seems like this game's kind of like clever in a sense of like knowing what heroes you haven't got, if you know what I mean. It doesn't constantly keep chucking the same kind of dupes at you.
No, but that's fine. But I'm going to just because that's a straight replacement and it doesn't really mess up my tower team. So we'll put her into there. Right, so let's move on to talking about I forget what these guys are called. The Wilders?
The Wilders, yeah.
So, anything standing out to you there?
That I can't pronounce the name. The second one on the top row, that Navanthe.
The healer?
Yep. Yeah, the healer. I haven't had a chance to fully build her again because I took a long break off the game, but apparently she's really, really, really good for healing. So, you know, I mean, her and that awakened Solace that you've got, that's pretty solid. And you've got Mishka. I mean, that's a pretty solid sort of wilder setup there. Tassie's kind of fell off now with the whole sleep thing. She has got like, there's a few like comps where like she constantly like cycles the sleep on them, and it just constantly cycles, you know, crowd control and stuff. But yeah, if you go back to your box on this one, I mean, the only one that I would try and get, because you haven't got a copy of him yet by the looks of it, is there's a guy called Aaron with the E, not the guy with the spear. If you just scroll up on the top, the guy like with the blonde hair next to the guy with the white hair.
This guy?
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh my god, I've used this guy so many times as food.
Oh no.
Oh no.
No, he's really good because he pulls the he can pull 3 units in. So depending on where he's at, if he's back row, middle, he'll pull, you know, the front 2 and the middle back in. And obviously, if you put him at the front, you can play around with these heroes, you know, quite a lot to kind of force your way through things sometimes. But he's really good. Again, at the very start of the game, these were units where if you didn't have them, you weren't going nowhere in the game. But now over time,
mate, I think he would have been awakened by now. Oh no!
No way that you've been doing that.
Oh mate, I have, because I wanted to just push content. I know it's not the thing to do. Right, I know that you don't use these characters for food, but you know when you're sitting there in your box and you're like, I want that character to be a higher. Do you know what I mean? You just do it.
And you know what? I did it at first with I think it was Pharrell from the Graveborn. So again, these mistakes can be fixed pretty quick in this game. They're very generous.
So other than that, I mean, there's not really much to really add to the Wilders team.
I think you're doing really good. I mean, yeah, I think that's really good. That Tamaris guy, the third on the third row on the right, yeah, that's the one, yeah. So like this guy's just come out. Apparently he's really crazy. I haven't had a chance to use him, but definitely keep building him. And then just one other hero in there. I'd probably say keep building Usaurus, which is that dinosaur like sort of guy next to the raccoon, the Raku guy at the top. Yeah, he's pretty good for like healing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's really good for healing, and he can like help you in like Riz and the Sorin and the guild events, and things like that. Yeah, again, these were like top tiers, but they have been replaced now, but they still hold a little bit of weight and utility, so it's still worth, you know, building.
Okay, we'll go on to the Graveborns then, who were my, I suppose, original go-to faction, but I find now that I'm really leaning heavily on the Celestials, to be honest.
Yeah.
So we'll go into these Graveborns, and you can see, obviously, I feel like I've kind of focused on the right people in here, possibly.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. The way you're at, yeah, that's absolutely fine. Especially with Grizzle, you've got him maxed pretty much once you get his 30 signature item, and the complete furniture. He's going to be absolutely crazy for you. At least, you know.
Let's just get this up a wee bit, then we'll get this up to 20. We'll get this up to 20 for now, right? Because I've got.
Because I think you got. I think when I caught a glimpse that you got Olna, so they're a really good pair together. So
who's Olna? Who's Olna? Oh,
in the Celestials, yeah.
Right, so we'll move on to the Celestials then. So that's who I've got in the Celestials right now. Obviously, I've got the lone version there, but I've also got my own version of the new unit. Nice,
yeah. I've currently got the same version up to Legendary Plus. So amazing, just absolutely amazing. Just like literally just come out and look at it, absolutely amazing. So, you know, you're really solid there as well. I would suggest probably getting a copy of the twins as well.
I've got them.
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. Sorry, I'm going a bit between there. Yeah, try. You know, there's I'd have to look into where you're at, but like obviously there are min-max guides out there where you can hold certain units at a certain ranking, and then once you cross over a threshold where like your deficit gets a little bit too much, you might need to increase their ranking to get more benefit out of their skills. I know obviously we keep comparing, you know, this, you know, from where we're at in terms of like what we've got content wise, but Street Fighter to this, it's like with these guys here, like, they've always put the players first, so there's always options to work around things, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
Going back to Street, and in Street Fighter, we're kind of forced against a brick wall to keep using the same stuff. So in here, I'm pretty sure you can work around everything. It just takes a little bit of time.
I think because you've mentioned it, I'm just going to say this. In a lot of ways, I think it's unfair to compare Street Fighter to AFK Arena, because obviously AFK Arena has had a lot more time to build to this point. But the reason that I do actually think it's a fair comparison is because, yes, AFK Arena has had a lot more time to build to this point, but they gradually built the content to go along with it. What Street Fighter's done is it's rushed all the content that you need this kind of diversity for without giving you the diversity. Does that make sense? So in AFK Arena, you've got so many different ways to attack things and tackle things, but these things didn't just drop into the game within the first 2-3 months. Some of them probably didn't show up until 2 years plus. Like, the fact is, we are, this, I know this, within about 2 characters that are Inferno in Street Fighter, we are going to get the Master in the Inferno Tower. 100% it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? But someone told me that it didn't actually appear in AFK Arena until maybe 2 plus years into the game.
No, absolutely true. Yeah, no, it's completely true, because again, there wasn't enough Celestial or enough Hypergean characters in the game. So, like, if we look at Street Fighter, there's not enough Infernal or enough Master characters, really.
Yep.
And, like, how many people are going to have them built? But yeah, 100%. You're absolutely spot on. You're spot on, because I think, off the top of my head, going back to when you were speaking to Pika, when he was saying when he kind of got introduced to the game, I think I started, like, when the Dimensionals actually first came out. And it was, I think it was Ukyo from, I can't remember what franchise it is, but I know it's SNK. When he first came out, everyone was like, "Oh, whoa, you got to pay for this character." And I don't want to be quoted on it, but I'm sure it was flat £100, $100, outright for the character. And that caused a bit of backlash, next thing you know, the next promotional character that came out was 50% off. And then after that, they released Ainz and Albedo, if I'm right. And that's when I think they first introduced the whole heavy discount on the one, like we've got with Rem and Amelia now, basically. Because they listened to people, because people couldn't farm enough resource. There wasn't enough game modes out there to farm the resources to earn both the units for free back then, or it was a real stretch. So again, again, you're right. They have developed it over time, but it's just a shame that, like we said, they are kind of copy pasting, the whole concept of this game, but they're not carrying through with, the other things, like, No,
I mean, I've said, I've said this, and like people accuse me of being negative and stuff, and I know I hark back to this a lot, but it's not. I'm not being negative. I'm just simply stating that if you're going to copy the elements of arguably the most successful idle game, which I believe this is. I could be wrong, but I think this is definitely up there as being one of, if not the most successful idle games. If you're going to copy that formula because it worked, you have to clearly understand that it's not just 1 or 2 elements of it that made it work, it was the entire package. So to only copy some elements of it and leave out the more player focused, free to play friendly, or even spending friendly functions, because, like, let's be clear here, the Dimensionals, I think that's what they're called, they are pretty friendly on your wallet if you're someone who spends. Like, I know to non-spending players, dropping $30 or $50, and mate, I hate saying dollars, I know we're pounds, right, but most of my audience is American, right? And plus, we get shafted. They pay $50, we pay £50, we get shafted, right? But that is far cheaper than summoning. Like, I mean, Jesus God, it's far cheaper than summoning. And then if you flash forward, I don't want to spoil too much, but we talk about this a little bit on the podcast that we've recorded, right? I think I brought it up, I'm not sure, but if you look at the whole argument of, in fact, I'm going to jump ahead, we're going to look at the Dimensionals, right? So this is your Dimensionals. Just so you guys know, I wasn't playing when Overlord came out. This is actually his units. You can see that we've got his 2 units from the Overlord collab, and this is one of the free-to-play friendly things that they do. I can literally essentially have these as my own characters, where I've used a currency, I've paid that currency to rent his units, and I've rented both of them at the same time. They are mine. While I have them, they are mine. I level them, I get gear for them, I do everything. I can use them unlimited times. So it's not like renting a mercenary where one and then you can't use it. There's no limitations on what I can do with them in content. Once I do that 6 times, so once I use that currency 6 times, I can permanently use these guys as if they are my own units. Now, I was not playing when this collab happened. So even though I missed out, I haven't really missed out, which is awesome. It is awesome. Are we going to get a function like that in Street Fighter? No, and I'll tell you why we're not. And see, I want to know if you agree with this. They keep changing the legendary characters. This function would not work for any other faction, because to level other factions, you need dupes. You do not need dupes for this faction, so you literally could not do it. The only characters you could do it with right now is Flame Chun-Li and obviously Sakura, right?
Fashion Blanca, as well.
Well, you wouldn't. I mean, anybody that did it with Fashion Blanca would be crazy, because like every player will eventually get Fashion Blanca anyway. On my free to play, I actually unlock him today, so finally I can really push a lot of different things because of him. But what I was saying in the podcast was they are taking units who were legendary and they are changing them to summonable. Now, Monster Hunter Ken, you looked at that and you thought, oh, they're busting the hell out of these characters, that's why they're doing it, right? So it kind of made sense for Monster Hunter Ken, although it was kind of crappy, right? But then you look at Dante. They changed Dante from being a legendary to being a summonable, and to be completely frank, he's pretty mid, you know? It's not as if they busted the hell out of him. So there was no real justification to do it. And that is a problem, because even though I understand for non-spending players, this seems like a poor system, it's actually not, because if they implemented it like AFK, what Skyfire's doing is he's currently saving up. In fact, I can't show you exactly because I bought Amelia and Rem, right? But if we go here,
no, that's right,
if we go here and we look, if I go to friends and I go to Garrisoned, this is the thing I was talking about, right? Now you get these stones, and the way you get these stones is by exchanging these tokens. But see that exchange there, right? Instead of changing it to these tokens, what you do is you change it to puzzle pieces. So it's the same, you use the same items and you change it to puzzle pieces, and if you collect all puzzle pieces on the slots, it's for the new character, and you can basically get the new character for free. It locks you out, you can't do it for 60 days, so whales and paying players essentially get 60 days early access to the unit. But after the 60 days is up, is it for a month, mate? How long do you actually get to trade in? Is it like a month they give you or something?
I think, well, again, I think on the information it should tell you, but I think it's 60 days or 90 days. But I think you've got to repeat the process, I think 6 times or something like that. And then once you've done it, as long as you've still got that friend or a friend with that unit on, you can just rent it.
No, not this part.
Sorry.
The part when you trade in for Amelia and when you trade in for Rem. So it uses same. It uses the same things, except instead of getting one of these stones that you can see here, it's a puzzle piece for the new unit.
That's correct. Yes. Sorry.
It's okay. So what I'm saying is, it locks you out from doing that for about 60 days, I think it is, and after the 60 days you can then trade in. But how long is the window where you can actually do that? So if you've saved up your currency, once that 60 days passes, how long do you have available to actually, do you know what I mean, trade in and take that unit?
Yeah. Well, currently there's 22 days till the event starts, and then it ends in 29 days. So I think that's like 7 days a week.
Okay, so you
get an extra week's window. So it's very doable. They've made sure that when they do release 2 units, not just 1, 2 units that are like collaboration or limited time or whatever you want. It's possible for completely free to play to get them as well. I valued a bit more time and I needed a bit more resources, so I did buy one. But I've got no problem. I don't feel forced to spend with these guys. But
see the thing is, but that's I like the way you said that. When you don't feel forced to spend, you're more likely to go, well, you know what? I value my time. I want to buy this unit. You know? Whereas if the company was nickel and diming you at every turn, you probably wouldn't have bought that unit. You would have probably thought to yourself, I'm going to get this unit for free. I'm not giving them money, I'm going to get this for free. So this is the one big, massive issue with Street Fighter, in my opinion, because if they did this, they could still sell legendary units and all the player base would be happy. Whereas,
no, it's absolutely true, because it's given, you know, like look what they did with Flame Chun-Li. I mean, it wasn't £50, you know, it wasn't the 50% reduction. It was straight down to what, like 60, almost 60% off, you know, down to that 29. You just had to keep spamming people for, I could smell that fat discount. You know, it's, and then I've seen people that haven't even spent on the game that actually did that discount thing for Chun-Li and bought Chun-Li. And be honest, what's she doing for people's teams?
Well, actually, I'm just going to say, Chun-Li helped me go from chapter 25 to 26. Chun-Li, I put in my first team lineup, and the difficult part is you really need to change all your thinking with regards to timing and stuff like that. But using her and Beast Zangief as a kind of combo together, I was able to kind of clear the stages. She does work.
Fair play. But again, it's going back to the whole. You know, some people have thought that if I get that unit, I'm going to instantly start battering my way through things, and they haven't pushed anywhere, and they're still asking me questions like, how, you know, what can I do to help? What can I do to change things? And it's like, buying a unit or getting a specific unit is not going to help you. Is not going to help.
100%. 100%. I don't know if you've seen my video yesterday. Again, guys, we're kind of going off on a tangent here, but this does apply. This actually does apply to AFK Arena as well. I said in my video last night that when a new unit comes up, like, there isn't any point in wailing for that unit if your aim is to push content, because realistically, all one unit is going to do for you is maybe let you clear 1 or 2 stages, because ultimately, if you've came up against a power wall and not a team composition wall, then what is actually holding you back is scaling your power, and the only way to get over that is to either AFK, to wait for your resources like your breakstones or your equivalent in this game, your EXP, all that type of stuff, or to keep throwing money at the game every time you hit a wall just to raise your level more and more and more and more. So dropping £1,000 or whatever to max out a character, you may get the satisfaction of that character, but you'll be in for a rude awakening when you take on the next stage and you find, oh, I'm still here. And AFK is the same, because AFK essentially is the DNA of Street Fighter. So you will come up against walls in this game as well. And the only way past those walls is potentially finding new team compositions that will let you push a bit further, but it's not like an endlessly scaled thing. You are going to hit a wall, you are going to have to either AFK, wait for your idle rewards, or you're going to have to pay to push on more. And that's the thing that
it's very true. It's very true, because I was quite fortunate when I started. There were certain units I could get that were powerhouses. So like there was 1 or 2 that were added that were really crazy. So when I got them, I don't know if you remember, like when Payne was first pushing through, you know, on the towers, and he hit that flat wall where it was like you can't go any further because your power is not like 19 million or, you know, something crazy. And it was like the same thing was happening on here as well, but it was like you could fix that very quickly just by changing a bit of gear, and it was slight little things. You know, even if it meant waiting like 1 or 2 days just to get that little bit, it was fine, it was there. But again, they don't seem to have copied that. But again, just because obviously I know the video is going on a bit too long for yourself, but
well, we'll
just going. I know. Yeah, I just
that was the last one move to look at anyway. This one.
Yeah. So yeah, with that one, Lucretia, the middle one on the second row.
See, I dropped her. I had her at Legendary. I had her at Awakened, right? And what I did was, just to be clear, I used Grit. I used the pure Grit thing, the thing where you can swap characters.
Right.
And I swapped her level for Thorin And Tarnos, this guy is a monster, by the way, an absolute monster.
Yeah. I have heard like him, yeah, and there's another light bearer. I've heard they're crazy good, but I personally haven't had a lot of experience with them.
These two,
but yeah,
for me, these two have been the key to me really pushing content, really pushing content. And I've also been told that this character's very good as well. Don't know how true it is.
I mean, I funny enough, there's another good content creator for AFK, Furry Hippo. I seen one of his stargazing guys today. That guy was ranked pretty low. The guy with the bow and arrow.
Right. Okay.
I don't know why. I think it's because I must have just fallen off over time. But that guy was ranked high. That Tarnos. So.
What about Alna?
Yeah,
where was she?
Yeah, Alna's really good, really high up. Again, like once you get her to, a little bit of engraving and that. Again, this is I hate to keep bringing this topic up, but like how with the car system, how the car system in Street Fighter came out with, you can add duplicates to empower these vehicles. Well, that was happening in here when the furniture first came out. We were automatically getting some duplicates for, characters we already had furniture for, and there wasn't a furniture enhancing thing. So I'm pretty sure that came out. Now on here, once the characters are ascended with at least 1 star, you can start engraving them, which I'm pretty sure you were just doing that a second ago, which was just, yeah, so that was just obviously more stats. And again, it changes their kit a little bit more. It'll either revamp a certain skill, like how Fashion Sakura works, once you do a certain amount of things, it changes. But it'll just straight up buff it. So, but again, there's priority lists with things like that. But for where you're at, with that Mahira, which is obviously the one that you've got leveled at the most in there, yeah. So it's a really good unit. It does that charm thing. Pairs really well with that Khazad, exactly what Pika said before. So yeah, again, I haven't really had a chance. I've never been in a position to use those two together. So, but yeah, honestly, I think for where you're at, you're set. You've literally got Grez and Alna. You could easily make a team. If you go to your campaign now, we'll even try and put a team in, and we'll try and help you beat that stage, like where you should be able to just swamp through it. Because look, you've got loads of options. So
that's my team 1,
yeah,
and that's my team 2. My team 2 right now is probably the one that's letting me down the most. So, like, if we take this team just now and I do this stage, I think this is the one I can pass. But look, there's a massive gulf in power here, right? We'll see if it goes through. This one might fail. It might be the other one that passes, and this one fails. Right, so that one failed, right? Is it stage 2 that I pass? One of the 2 stages, it kind of goes through it, no problem.
It'll probably be this stage. Maybe a pass because they were a lot weaker than the other one.
Right.
So what you can afford to do maybe with this one is
they died
okay. It's fine. So maybe go try and take everybody out of that team. So you've got all your options available, and then in the first team, try and put Rowan in the back. Sorry, yeah, that's the one. In the middle, just because he's got a healing card. So obviously anyone that's around him will take his benefit. And then maybe take out Damon at the front and put in Alna at the front.
Is this Alna? That is Alna.
Yeah.
Put you in there. I keep going to drag, see, because of Street Fighter, I keep going to drag the characters. Yeah. I've got beasts. This is my beasts, by the way. That's my beasts.
Yeah, I really messed up with these because when I first came back and I started seeing them, I was choosing normal ones, like like this normal dragon or that like grey dragon at the end. When there was like the fox and this other Chinese dragon, I messed out. But yeah, I think they're going to offer you more stats for now rather than the actual effect of the pet. So probably pick that. Yeah.
So try stage 1 like this then.
Yeah. Try and fire away with that.
See how it goes. Oh. No. Oh, maybe. Oh, come on, Solace. You can do that. Oh, we're
That's
getting
all they need. That's all they need. They just need
Getting
one of them to
notes.
pop off the super. There you go.
Right, so stage 2 is the harder one of the two. So
Okay. So now we've got all them options from down there.
now I'll
Ideally.
show you what I would choose here, right? Just to see if
Okay. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
just
Go ahead.
just to see if it goes right. But this, because I've got these two available, I would usually go with something like that, right? And then in the front, I would probably go with, because I'm not very good at this part. We'll see how this goes, right? I don't think it's going to go very well because I am making a bit of a rash choice here. Actually, do you know what? I would probably do something like that because I find that his cube's quite good when it activates, especially if the person's going away out front. I have a massive golfing power here, so I think this will fail, but I can do it again without having to do stage 1 again. So let's see if my team works right. I don't think it won't. Actually, you know what? It might.
You smashed it, mate. You smashed it.
Hey! The power of pay to win using the two-dimensional. Hey, we did it! Yeah, I was stuck there for a while actually. So,
well, you could say pay to win, but it's all either that or just pay with your time and just pay with a little bit of patience, and then you got them both. So I mean, you know, if for you, you've just started, so like, you know, you value the resources that are going to come up. It seems like you're really enjoying the game. So, I mean, look, like already. And even then, when you come up against 3 teams, you've got enough units now to push through. It's honestly, it's just all about, you know, sometimes hero placement even. Like you'll come into heroes. That. Yeah.
I've seen that.
So like Namora, I don't know if you've come across her, that Graveborn with she's got like this huge axe with a chain, like an axe chain. Dude, she's super annoying at first, like, because like she'll just grab that hero and pull him towards you. So like if you're relying on that hero to pull off their skill first or something, and she yoinks them, you know, you've got to like change up, you know, positions and things like that. Like you can't always, like now it's nice to keep sailing through like this, but eventually you'll die, and you might have to change just where one person's sitting or maybe replace one unit. But
oh, look at that! Did you see him
clutching
amazing.
That? Yes, dude.
I told you he's a beast, mate. He is an absolute beast. See if we keep going. Like I'm quite chuffed now that we're kind of pushing on.
I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you, man.
See guys, this is why we've done this, because like little tweaks. I think what you said about character placement, the thing that reminds me of a bit, although it's not quite the same, but it does remind me of slightly, is the way that we combo tweak in Street Fighter. So obviously you can use the exact same team, but just simply maybe alternating the combo that's being used. It seems to me as though it's the same kind of idea, if that makes sense.
No, definitely. It's just a shame with Street Fighter. Like sometimes you can't edge one character to the left or the right. You know, mid change them up a little bit like that, but still keep their combo movements. They're forced to their set unit, set places. And here you got the freedom to like move certain units around. So it's
absolutely. Well, mate,
I know it's restricted.
No. You go finish what you were saying. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I know it's restricted with what we got in that game compared to this, but, you know, I'm sure, you know, given time, hopefully they do, open up to, the possibilities that they have got. Because it would be a shame to, let it die, but...
Well, here's my opinion, right? This is maybe something that's not for this video, because I don't know what audience this video attracts. I mean, to be honest, this video might end up getting less than 200 views, right? Let's be real. But at the end of the day, if anyone who's watching this video, especially this far, is someone who's just supporting me because they play Street Fighter or whatever, they probably want to hear this. In my opinion, I honestly think, being completely frank and honest, Street Fighter is going to live or die by if they make the changes that need to be made. And the changes that need to be made is they need to have set pity. Now, I hate the actual bullshit that gets said that I am the person who caused there to be no pity in Street Fighter. That's just utter fucking nonsense, right? I don't go for that at all. All we wanted was like transparency. Does it exist? If it does exist, what's the number? Now, to be honest, to be fair, people probably say, hey, you're playing AFK, and it doesn't officially tell you that pity's 6 on every banner, right? But apart from the standard, which is free, I believe. But it's there, do you know what I mean? It's there, they've stuck with it.
It is.
There's no guesswork. The thing about Street Fighter is, even when we thought we had pity, no one could give you a concrete number. Like, people were saying it was 5, people were saying it was 6, people were saying it was 7. It shouldn't have been like that. We should have known what it was, do you know what I mean? It shouldn't have been a different experience for different people. And without that, honestly, as horrible as it sounds, I honestly think Street Fighter will die early if they do not turn course.
Yeah, it's a
now.
shame. They're just lacking certain things like patch notes, like before they even change anything. Like, hey guys, we are going to like do maintenance on this day, and this is what we're going to change. This is what we're going to bring in, even down to the little things. Like in the bottom corner, if your character in the bottom left, if your character performs a trigger skill, now it says trigger. I know it's been there for a long time now. When it first came out, I noticed it never got mentioned. It's little tiny things like that. If they're going to copy and paste everything off this or like other things that they're taking inspiration from, why not take the positives as well? Like, that will create more longevity for what they've got.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It is a shame.
I 100% could not agree more with that. I've just had a
and I'm sorry. The final thing I will say is it is a shame that we are making comparisons of AFK to Street Fighter. But I'm sorry, a lot of players came from like games like AFK and other games came to Street Fighter with their knowledge, and they they've either helped push, or they were the ones spending, if anything, at first, through the giant waves. And when the problems started to come up and they wasn't seeing certain things, like when the T3 stones were there in the game, and obviously they realized that, hey, people have pushed too far, we better take them out of the game. There was no transparency for that. So
100%. And the weird thing about that as well is I'm kind of surprised that even now they've still not put them in the game.
Well, I think we've all reached the point now where, I'd say a lot of players have reached a point now where we could do with T3 stones on our characters. We've got at least 2-3 teams full of T2 gear. I mean, I know people who are free to play that have got like their full team is all T2'd out. So
100%. I mean, the quicker they do it, the better, because people are progressing. We're now entering month 3, I believe. And while it does seem a bit early for the T3 stuff, they've allowed the game to progress far enough. So it should be there.
They have. But I mean, with regards to AFK, I mean, for yourself as well, I don't know if you've like partaken in much of the events, the Abyssal Expedition, I think it's called at the moment. Yeah,
I absolutely have. I have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you can see with that, like, obviously how it's like integrated with a lot of different guilds from like the server cluster that you're in as well.
Yep.
So like you've got an opportunity again to meet out, and they haven't got an alliance system in this game, I don't think, like as some other games do. But I mean, like with our guild system we've got in our game, we're very limited. So we've got another guild event coming up again, and look how restricted we're going to be with that. But also in here, I spent 3 years out of a guild. I spent like in just the guild I started up with nobody in it. And since I've moved, which was like when I first told you to like kind of like check this game out, I moved into a new guild. I've never run out of gold since I've been in that other guild. So again, I don't know if things have changed since then, but like they've definitely improved things over time, and they're constantly, always listening to players, and they know what people need. And yeah, I just hope that they take a leaf out of the book. So
incidentally, just because it's here, any Street Fighter people watching, we were speaking about this today. If you actually look at this, you might actually notice something, that this is pretty much exactly the same as the workbench in the new event. You level these up and you get stat boosts, bonuses and stuff like that for these skills. It's literally the exact same thing. So it's almost like they've taken this mode and packaged it up a bit different to make the latest mode in Street Fighter. But that's enough comparisons for Street Fighter. Well, I'm pushing content, mate. That was the aim of this. The only event I'm still a bit unsure about is this treasure scramble. I mean, right now it says I'm in top 4%, so I've done something right, because I seem to be doing better than I was doing in the last few days.
No, definitely. I mean, when that first came out, I don't know what, I was getting like in the top rankings, but then I think over time I've missed out on certain heroes, or again, like the meta changes. So I've got to look into some teams for myself, because I know at first it starts off with like 3 or 4 teams, and then as you keep going up, it starts making you have like up to like 8, I think, or something stupid like.
100%. It gets crazy. It gets really, really crazy, and it's actually quite annoying, to be completely honest, how crazy it gets. But it's a good mode, I've got to say. It's something that I've particularly.
I just love the way in this, because I just love the way in here there's such a variety of units you can use, and also I guess once you hit a certain point in the game, you will be able to fill out all these slots with a perfect team. But you know, up till that point, you've got to like, you know, put 2 stars with a couple of mids, you know, 3 mids, and then just hope that they can push through. But the balance, the balancing in this game is pretty fair. It's not like OP insane AI. You know, it's you're pretty much matched up with decent people that you can have a chance at fighting against.
No,
Again, once you hit a
agree.
wall,
I would absolutely agree. In a lot of ways, I probably enjoy this slightly more than Street Fighter, but again, I think it's just maybe because in Street Fighter, I came to a point where to do anything, I've got to play a free-to-play account. I can't really do anything on my main account anymore.
Yeah, it is true. I mean, it is unfortunate again because like the only time you're feeling like you're forced to spend is like that whole fear of missing out syndrome. It's like, oh, I don't want to miss out on getting this. But what realistically, there's nothing that we are going to miss out on. If you be honest with yourself, like
That's absolutely
unless they seriously, if they do implement this whole exchange system of like time for resources or time for like a limited event currency or a unit, that's, you know, that's still some sort of like activity, you know, pushing your numbers up. It's keeping players loyal, and then when something does come up that's relatively in their price range, they may feel compelled to spend off their own back, you know, because they're happy. Like you've said before, happy customers are willing to spend.
Yep, 100%, and I truly believe that. And I truly believe that most people, yeah, okay, you get some people who play games who'll never spend, like they've no intention of spending, but that's fine, like absolutely fine. But there is what I call fence sitters, people who are like on that tipping point that if you do enough for them, they'll see it as supporting the developer who's given them a game they enjoy playing, and they will spend, you know. And I think
that's very true.
I think that's what we're missing out on Street Fighter. But again, I do look at this in a more realistic light, where this game's had a lot more lead-in time, this game's had a lot more time to develop and stuff, and in a lot of ways, like I've already said, it's a bit of an unfair comparison, but the only reason we're actually doing the comparison is simply because the developers have kind of pushed it to that point, because they've rushed the content in Street Fighter so much. It's almost as if it's trying to be where AFK was year 2, but they're trying to do it month 2. So in my opinion, it's a fair comparison.
No, absolutely, I couldn't agree more. Like if we just go back to the T3 stones, you know, look, they were in the game. They obviously knew what they were going to do, but they intentionally just, we better take it out because we don't want to reveal our grand plans. Well, where are these grand plans? Where's the transparency? Where's like any kind of like roadmap, or hey guys, there's only like a small amount that are huge spenders. We'll just reach out to them, or like just say, look, this is where we're going to go, you know, this is what we're going to do, you know, just a little bit transparent. They don't have to do the whole public speech sitting in front of someone, you know, like, oh, this is what we're going to, you know, just something, just throw us a little something where, you know, we know what we're going to do. Like for you content creators, you've got, you know, you can plan ahead, you know, you know what I'm trying to say. It's just, I think a lot of people are just tired of like talking about this, because like, no offense, we're kind of doing their job for them. It's like almost like as if, you know, we're the ones at their business telling them what to do, and what do we get in return for it? Nothing. Not even a little bit of courtesy. So I mean, I don't want to sound rude and offensive at all, but you know, there's so many times so many people have, you know, chucked out so many golden nuggets at them, and they've just not listened.
I couldn't have said it any better myself.
And also, I am sorry. One question I have for yourself is like, given obviously like, you know, you started with Street Fighter and the whole game mechanics and systems and the whole AFK resource management, and then coming to this, I mean, how do you see, how do you feel in terms of enjoyment for yourself between the two?
Well, I mean, obviously, anyone who's followed me for any length of time knows that these games aren't my first gacha game. However, they are my first gacha game of this style, like the AFK and the idle style. I keep saying the AFK style, the idle style. And surprisingly, I enjoy it. I don't know why, right? And I mean, I'll be completely transparent about this. These games are not really designed for you to play in the sense that I used to play the Sky RPG, where you could actually sit there and if you wanted to, you could play that game the entire day. Technically, Dokkan Battle, if you want to, if you're doing things like link leveling, trying to beat scores and content, trying to build new team compositions, you can just play and play and play. These games don't really have that. They have a finite amount of things that they expect and want you to do per day, and I always thought that would be something that I wouldn't enjoy. I enjoyed it with Street Fighter. When you suggested AFK Arena to me, I was a bit hesitant at first. I mean, don't get me wrong, sorry, anyone watching this video, I know that commenters had said to me for a while to try this, but to be fair, this guy was in my inbox bugging me about trying this for a while, so I really do need to put it down to him that I really picked up this game and started playing it. And the main reason I decided to play it at first was I was like, well, I want to find out, do I like Street Fighter Duel because of the IP, or do I like the game? And I thought the best way to find that out would be play the game that supposedly influenced it. Then I tried AFK and I was like, okay, it did more than influence it. It's almost as if they took AFK, put a Street Fighter skin on it and walked away, you know? And then I found myself like really enjoying it, really enjoying the art style and the characters. Anyone who has watched me for quite a while knows I have a history with Lilith, and I did not think I would have played a game by Lilith Games again because of how they kind of did the whole Dislike thing at the start, which, credit to Dislike, I feel like actually doing a video on this. I've been back and I've revisited that, and they've really turned it around with Dislike. It's a lot more player friendly now than it was. A lot more player friendly. Yeah. They've heavy duty turned it around, big time. And I'm glad I gave this a shot because there's a lot to like about it. The fact that it doesn't use an established IP means that I don't have this predisposed attachment to characters. Like, Ryu is my favourite character. And Ryu and Ken, sorry. And it really ucks me that I cannot have Ryu and Ken in my team. You know, I really want a standard Ryu and Ken. Even if they're not the best units, I still want them in my team. I don't have that with this. I can feel a bit more liberated to try different builds, try different combinations. I like the art style. Someone in my Discord kind of dumped on the game a wee bit for looking a bit dated. I don't think so at all. I mean, what do you need Flash 3D graphics for?
I think this is medieval themed as well.
Well, I don't even think that. I just think, like, if we go and look at a battle here, right? Just into this battle, for example. Okay, look, it's not the most exhilarating. There's a couple of characters on screen butting heads against each other. But I've set it to 4 speed.
I like it.
I want this to pass as quickly as possible, you know? If I could set that to 6 speed, 8 speed, 10 speed, I would do it. Because it's for me, it's not about... It's weird. I don't really know how to describe this. If you watch...
I completely agree. It was like I don't want to say a new genre of game, but for me it was. It wasn't like your standard, standard beat 'em up or strategy RPG or anything. It is this whole like I wouldn't say AFK, but it is technically you can literally just step away and just watch, and it's fun sometimes, especially like, dude, I haven't played this. I took about a year break. So like I kept leveling up though. I kept jumping on, buying my dust, leveling up the stone, logging off, just like 5 minutes flat. I missed out on all the events, but dude, like now I'm going through. I whomped through so many stages. It's unreal, but it's hilarious because I can like leave my phone on like consecutive battle and then come back and it's like done like 35 stages.
Oh, do I unlock that soon?
I'm not sure. I think it's when you get to multiple fights. Like I think the 4s or 5s. I'll have to double check. It might be like chapter 40 or something. It's something really, really high up. But again, like, there's other games that have like that whole will do consecutive battles, and it's like one fight's over and it's finished. It's like, that's not consecutive.
No, I get it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I will say, massive plus to Street Fighter. I like the fact they gave us that early. I mean, the fact that I've had to go really far into the game here and I still don't have that. It bugs me a wee bit. So the fact that if we view that as a quality of life update, the fact that Street Fighter just gave us that almost, I think it was chapter 4, maybe chapter 5.
It is true. No, it's true. And this is what bugged me was because like I came from this to Street Fighter. So like, I mean, I'm a huge Street Fighter fan myself as well. Like, but like when I thought the two came out together, I thought this is going to be unreal. As soon as I seen like I think it was the resources. As soon as I seen the boxes of money and the dust, the breakstones, dude, I knew it was this, and I knew what to do on it. Like, I love that. Like, I love the way Payne's gone free to play, because like he's at the point where ideally I would want to be, which is everything's maxed. You don't have to spend. You're building up your coins, you're building up your cards. When a new like elemental hero comes out, you'll pop all them elemental heroes. You're done. I think eventually, I mean, it would be nice if people, because there was a point in this game where everyone kind of caught up, and then they released new units, and then there was a point where they were releasing them way too fast, and they pulled back on it. Like that's why they took in these awaken units into consideration and started doing like, I don't know, the frequency on it, but it's set in stone now, kind of, if you know what I mean. There is like a kind of like a clockwork to it now when they release like collabs, when they release this, when they release a new dimensional, a new celestial hypogean. That's and again, like with going back to the new genre type of thing, there was a game called I think it was called Brave Frontier. I don't know if you ever played that. It was like a team-based game like this. That was amazing before it shut down, but that's where I got into like the whole gacha system, learning about pulling, spending, and things like that. And I never really spent on it, but I pulled some of the best units in the game. So when I came to a game like this, I thought, wow, it's got similar mechanics with the pulling. So you kind of pull from your old experiences of like how to, resource manage, team build. And I mean, like, you coming from Street Fighter into this, you probably know how to like, okay, I finally need to prioritize that unit. You push for that. So
absolutely, no, absolutely.
It all works around, and again, the benefit from you playing this AFK is there'll be certain things that will come up if they are copy pasting everything. There'll be certain things that will come up in Street Fighter that you'll have knowledge on because you've already experienced it in this.
Yeah, no, definitely, absolutely. I do think this game's going to actually help me in my content creation for Street Fighter. But I'm going to wrap this up now because this kind of ended up turning into like a mini podcast type thing, which I suppose is...
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I suppose it's fine. I just don't really know what I'm going to title this video now. So whatever I've got in the thumbnail, I've made it up. Right? But we'll see how it goes. I've got a lot of editing to do because me being the dumbass that I am, I volunteered to edit the podcast. So I need to... We've done it in 3 kind of individual parts. It's one podcast, but it's done as 3 individual parts because we're going to have part 1 on one channel, part 2 in another, part 3 in another, so that we all can kind of share, I suppose, in the whole point of it. And what happens is you need to take all 3 videos and all 3 audios and match them all up perfectly so it flows as one big conversation. And the other 2 weren't too sure on how to do it, so I volunteered to do it for everyone, and now I realise that it's a massive undertaking and I'm probably going to be sitting for hours editing, and I need to do it tonight because I've said we'll have it ready for tomorrow. So yes, after this I'm going to go upstairs, edit this video, edit the next video, and that'll
good, man.
Anyway guys,
I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, anyway guys, you didn't need to know all that, but there you go, you've just seen behind the curtain. So anyway mate, I really appreciate you both being my mentor in game, and now in real life, although to be honest we'll be chatting back and forward quite a bit, plotting how to take down certain whales in Street Fighter and things like that. And maybe if all goes well, we will be meeting tomorrow in the final of the Global Showdown, and we'll see how that one plays out. It's kind of difficult because when I speak to this guy, I tell him a lot of my strategies. I'll say, well, I'm going to do this in this fight, and he'll say, oh, good man, nice thinking. But now he knows how I think, so now I need to see if I can outthink how I think to try and confuse him on how I'm going to think. So it could be quite difficult. He might actually win if we get to the final, but we'll see. But anyway, mate, I'm going to go. Do you want to say bye-bye?
Yeah, Sam, thanks for having us on. Yeah, it's been absolutely wonderful, mate.
No worries at all. Right, guys, so anyway, this was a long kind of AFK Street Fighter Duel gacha gaming podcast. It's a one-off. Maybe we'll make it more with other people. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, I'm going to bust my ass editing, and I'll catch you all later. Bye.